For us here at 5 o'clock, Grammy Award-winning Chicago rapper Lil Durk is facing new charges in a murder-for-hire plot.
I decided I had to finish, but the media called me a menace.
As well. So Grammy Award-winning Chicago rapper Lil Durk has been charged in a superseding indictment alleging murder-for-hire plot to kill a rival near the Beverly Center shopping mall in Los Angeles in August of 2022.
That just went really wrong for Lil Durk. We've all seen the news stories, but now the video is out and it looks bad. People are going crazy on the internet because Durk may have put himself in a tough spot by talking too much, or straight up spying on himself. He was definitely caught short, so stay tuned as we break down the footage and find out what's really going on. This one's going to get messy, so you know how Lil Durk has always said how much he hates snitches? Well, it's crazy because now it looks like one of his own guys may have turned on him. Court papers say that OTF Jam, a guy who has known Durk for years and played a big part in the case that put Durk in jail.
I named OTF Jam.
That was wired.
Very ironic name.
Jam
now
got
he
him
put
in a
everyone in a
jam.
jam.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case. But he...
Now comes the crazy part. Jam was in prison for 12 years but got out in 2022. It turned out that he had been working with the feds as an informant. The whole time, he was even wearing a wire while hanging out with Durk and the OTF crew and giving information to the police. No one, not even Durk, saw that coming.
Like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't gotta act shit, bro. He said he gave you 50, bro. You know what I'm saying? Fact.
More than that. Shit. More than that. Shit.
But so, can you tell us how much he gave you, or you don't want to even?
According to the court docs, Jam's recordings were key to linking Durk to that crazy plot against Rondo, you know, the murder. The for-hire situation that almost went down. If you know anything about OTF Jam's friendship with Durk, this betrayal hits hard. Durk treated Jam like him by paying for his legal fees, buying him a house and a car, and sending over more than $50,000. In other words, Durk was looking out for OTF Jam while he was locked up and doing everything he could to have his back. But what could make someone flip on their day one homie like that without giving it a second thought? Things may be darker than we thought. Reports say that Durk may have had something to do with the sad death of his baby mama, Octavia Redmond. Apparently, after Durk found out that Jam had been wearing a wire this whole time, he was furious and determined to get his revenge. But instead of going after Jam directly, Durk knew that taking out an FBI informant would bring the feds right to his doorstep, so he did something else. He went after his child's mother on July 19, 2024, in the West Pullman neighborhood of Chicago. A well-liked postal worker named Octavia was out carrying mail like any other day when a stolen SUV pulled up, and a 15-year-old suspect jumped out and shot Octavia several times from close range. She was taken to the hospital but unfortunately died there.
On-duty U.S. Postal Service worker. He's accused of murdering 48-year-old Octavia Redmond on 121st and Harvard back in July.
The police and the U.S. Postal Service launched a major...
The police and the U.S. Postal Service began a major investigation, and eventually the suspect was tracked down and arrested in Iowa months later. But here's the twist. Octavia's death didn't fix anything. It didn't erase the betrayal from Jam's wiretapping, and it didn't stop the feds from going after Durk. So what did Jam say to the police that could lead to Durk getting the death penalty? It all starts on November 6, 2020, when the KN King Vow Durk's best friend was killed with a gun outside of an Atlanta bar after that friend and Vow got into a fight. Rondo escalated quickly into a shooting with Rondo after surgery. It was a huge loss for Durk, not just because V was his close friend, but also because it kicked off a whole lot of bad blood between Durk and Quando Rondo. People started talking, and rumors began swirling that Durk had put a bounty on Rondo's head, making the whole situation way more intense. Now, according to court docs, that got Durk locked up. OTF Jam is the one who told the cops that after Vaughn's death, Durk used coded messages to tell his crew that he was willing to pay anyone who took out Rondo. Durk's cousin, DeAndre Wilson, also told OTF members that the ones who helped out would get big rewards like music chances with OTF. In August 2022, things started to move. Durk's crew found out that Rondo was staying at a hotel in Los Angeles, and the plan to take him out was set in motion. So Durk's people, Cuz DD, Flacka, Brown Eyes, and Boogie, supposedly got the green light to go to LA using funds from Durk himself. They were careful, though. They didn't want to leave a trail, so they didn't book flights under their names despite Durk allegedly telling them to avoid any links to him. But even with that warning, the feds say they found out Durk's credit card was used to book their flights. Once in LA, the crew met up with Voney, another OTF member who had already arrived on a private jet. Voney was helping the team set everything up, securing hotels, buying ski masks, and even getting guns, including one that had been converted into a machine gun. They were really gearing up for something serious. The plan was to follow Quando and his crew around LA until they could find the right moment to strike. They ended up at a gas station across from the Beverly Center when Rondo and his guys pulled up. That's when the suspects opened fire. Rondo survived, but his cousin LOL sadly got caught in the crossfire and died. The whole scene was chaos, with people running for cover and the shooters fleeing. Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's officers pulling out a man who had been shot in an
Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in one car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back.
Can I get some space, please?
It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside.
Afterward, the crew allegedly met up at an In-N-Out to talk about payment and then headed back to Chicago. But this isn't the first time Durk's name has come up. In connection to a murder-for-hire situation from the death of his brother, Dong, to someone who disrespected Von's mural. It looks like Durk's been tangled up in some dangerous situations for a while now, and the more they dig into these cases, the more people are talking about the role Durk might have played in other murders. So here's the story. One Sunday morning, outside a strip club in South Suburban Harvey, things went south fast. Dang, Durk's brother was shot in the head and sadly died right there on the spot.
Oh man, look at how many people died around him already. You know what I mean? From his cousin.
He's strong.
He's
strong. Yeah, he humble. He humble. Durk don't let you see him sweat like that. Like he don't see him really tweeting his anger or tweeting his pride.
Yeah, but
he had.
Word around the streets was that a guy named Stefan Mack was the one responsible for Dang's death. Durk, being Durk, wasn't about to let that slide, so he reportedly put a bounty on Stefan's head. Fast forward to January 7th, 2012, and Stefan ended up getting taken out at the Youth Peace Center of Roseland in Chicago. The hit was a well-planned operation, and 2 men, Anthony Montgomery Wilson and Preston Powell, were eventually indicted on charges of murder. For hire now, according to prosecutors, the whole thing was set up using a cell phone and a Chrysler 300, which they said were part of interstate commerce. Basically, the feds were all over this one. When Max stepped out of the Youth Peace Center, the gunman pulled up and opened fire, taking his life right there. There was also a security guard who got injured, but thankfully survived. As the case went on, Montgomery Wilson and Powell were hit with some serious charges. Conspiracy to use an interstate facility to carry out the murder plus the murder for hire charges. Montgomery even faced a gun charge on top of that. When he was brought to court, he pled not guilty, setting the stage for what could be a long and nasty trial. His defense is reportedly planning to challenge the evidence, including pictures that supposedly show him chasing the victim with a gun. Powell, on the other hand, is still on the run, and the police are actively looking for him. But that isn't even the end of the convo when it comes to Durk's dirty laundry. Yep, there's more to it now. The most high-profile case that Durk's allegedly linked to is the murder of FBG Duck back in 2021. When Duck's assailants were arrested, word came out that Durk had put a $100,000 bounty on Duck's head. Apparently, there was a rat in A Block working with the feds who spilled the beans on who was behind the hit. Turns out it wasn't just Val who was involved. The story goes that Durk was the one who paid for the hit on Duck and rewarded the guns for hire with custom-made A Block chains. A video even surfaced showing King Ao giving out these chains, but according to people from Chicago, it was actually Durk who was pulling the strings behind the scenes. So if you want to know who really put the hit on FBG Duck, FBG Buddha says, you have to check out the arrest footage of the A Block gang members involved. Here's the wild part. Muop and C. Murda weren't arrested in O Block. Nope, they were actually picked up at a private hangar. That's pretty crazy because let's be real. Regular O Block members don't have the cash to charter a private jet. Now here's where things get interesting. At the time of their arrest, V had already passed away, so who could afford to fly Muop and C. Murda out on a private jet? Only one person with that kind of money. Lil Durk seems like the dots are starting to connect, right? But that's not all. Durk is also suspected of ordering the death of FBG Duck's close homies, FBG Cash. Why? Well, after V was killed, Cash did something that didn't sit right with V's crew, especially Durk. Cash took a photo next to Von's mural, giving the middle finger. Instead of showing some respect for the deceased rapper, that didn't fly with Von's people, and it really pissed off Durk, who decided to step up for his fallen friend. Durk even called Cash out in his song Computer Murderers, dropping bars like Lil Bro won't come out and spin and basically hinting that Cash wasn't safe for disrespecting G-Vow. FBG Cash responded by using Durk's beat for his own diss track, continuing to taunt Von's death with lines like V got his A clapped. You had us thinking he was stretched, but the trolling didn't stop there. Cash went on interviews where he was asked about his infamous stunt at Von's mural. And get this, Cash straight up said that Durk told him to do it. So this whole thing looks like a serious back and forth that spiraled out of control. But truth be told, it was just a matter of time before Cash's ops would catch up with him. And on June 9th, 2022, that time finally came. Cash had been picked up by a female friend, and they were heading to a nightclub. After the club, he took her to a friend's house to chill around 5 a.m. Cash drove her home with her in the back seat. She was tired and just wanted to sleep, but not long after Cash stopped at a stop sign on the 1600 block of West 81st Street. That's when everything went south out of nowhere. A car cut them off, and 3 men jumped out opening fire. Cash didn't freeze. He jumped out of the car and tried to shoot back, but he was quickly overpowered. He was rushed to Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn, but he didn't make it. Now here's the thing. A few weeks before that tragic night, Cash had a close call. He got shot, but just grazed his arm. And even then, he had a feeling the female he was with might have set him up the wild part. He had a hunch about this long before it all went down. So earlier that morning, Cash had just left the studio and gone over to the woman's house at around 4:20. Things started to feel off when the woman's phone started blowing up. It was her boyfriend, and she told Cash he had the keys to the house at a red light, and Cash noticed a car pulling up behind them. The woman told him it was a cop, but he couldn't see clearly, so he went back to his phone. But then out of nowhere, the rear windshield shattered from a hail of bullets. Lucky for Cash, he wasn't in the line of fire at that exact moment. The woman sped off before anyone could get hit. After the shooting, people close to Cash warned him about being around the woman. She was an Instagram model, and they had only been out a few times before this happened. Some of them even believed she might have been involved in setting him up, and the whole thing ended in tragedy, as we can see. Durk was a menace when he was out on the street, and he was definitely pulling some strings. How many and to what extent is what we'll probably find out about in the very near future. Now, As you know, Durk was arrested recently, and it's looking real bad for the dude from conspiracy to murder. For hire, plus using firearms and a machine gun, the feds are coming down hard on Durk, and here's the kicker. His link to the attempt on Kwandu is putting his whole career on the line. Durk's got serious legal heat right now, and if he gets convicted, we're talking life in prison. His music, his shows, his whole future. Everything's up in the air, and don't forget his crew. Tangled up in all this too, it's a tough spot for the guy, and it's only just beginning, but what do you think? Was Durk caught slipping, or is this all just part of the game? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit up the next video to keep up with all the latest.